Hi, my name is Bright, and I want to share today's Advent thought. And it is the thought of the joy with which we should receive the news of the coming King. And this thought comes from Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 9. The prophet Zechariah had this to say: "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Now, many Bible readers can rightly associate these words with something that happened in the last week of Jesus' earthly tour of duty. In his last week here on earth, he came into Jerusalem riding on a donkey. And the coming of a king who would restore the fortunes of God's people was promised thousands of years before he actually came. And in the case of Zechariah, probably 500 years before Jesus came, Zechariah spoke about this promise to the people of God. Then and now, the news of a coming king, it conjures different thoughts and feelings in people. To many people, the announcement of a king coming is perceived as a threat, a form of tyranny, a yoke on our neck, someone who interferes in the little kingdoms of our lives. He is an intruder, and he comes to rob us of our independence. Certainly, this is how one Herod, who was ruling at the time of Jesus' birth, received the news. He received it with indignation. Kill him, finish him off. This was his reaction. And it resulted into the mass killing of infant males in an effort to annihilate the king and the news. But this is in sharp contrast with the gladness and anticipation with which the prophets announced the news of the coming king. You hear Zechariah again. He says, "Rejoice." He says, "Shout. See, your king comes to you." Why should we rejoice? Zechariah says, "You may rejoice highly because ours is a righteous king. You may rejoice because ours is a victorious king. You may rejoice because ours is a lowly king." You see, our promised king is a righteous king. He is pure and holy. His standing is upright. His rule is straight. There is no hint of crookedness or corruption. His judgments are based on truth and righteousness and justice. And so he is a king who cannot in any way abuse you. Our king is a victorious king. He himself is the source of all power and authority. There is no real power or authority in all creation that is above his authority. He cannot fail to save. He cannot fail to deliver, to secure those that take refuge under his reign. He has authority over wind, over waters, over gravity, over sickness, over demons, spiritual forces and powers. He has authority over all these things. Indeed, he has authority over life and death. If he be for you, to paraphrase the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 8, no one and nothing in all creation can ultimately stand against you. Also rejoice because ours is a lowly king. the King who is before, after, and above all authorities. He comes riding not on the power or majesty of a war horse, but on the humility of a donkey. What's the message? The message is that he is a servant king. The glory of his character, in my view, shines brightest in his lowliness. How he stoops down to our level. How he comes down to the bottom of our level in order to lift us to his level. How he walks down the path of frailty to be a baby in a manger. And he keeps walking down to the lowest rung on the ladder of human indignity to even take his place at the crucifixion. If we see him with spiritual eyes, we will admire him. We will love him rather than hate him. We will rejoice in him rather than fear and reject him. We will imitate him rather than mock him. Let those who sit as kings upon the thrones of their own castles despise him. Let those who insist on wearing the rags of their own good works, their own righteousness, let them pretend that they are in fact wearing royal robes. But you who lay your wisdom and your treasures at his feet, you, the tax collectors, you, the scorned prostitutes, you, the simple children, the untouchables, the ones with incurable diseases, those who are grieving, those who are tormented, the awakened captives of the flesh, the world, and the devil, those who are poor in spirit, as Jesus himself would say in his Sermon on the Mount. All these may rejoice greatly, for your lowly, victorious, and righteous King is coming to you, even this Advent season. Amen.